Okay, so let's go over some more fundamental stuff and critical reading. So right now we're going to do a question. This is question one over here. Whoops. This is question one over here, question one, and it's going to deal with this excerpt. Okay, right here. It says, the author uses the phrase "as an economist" in order to. So this comes out very often in reading passages, not just in test prep format, but also when you're reading newspapers or. I guess you guys wouldn't be reading academic journals just yet, but when you're reading that, they're gonna have parts like this, right? Where it says as an economist, or in this case on the bottom it says as a journalist, right? And they're asking about why they're doing this, right? Why this person is using the phrase as an economist, right? So let's read the whole thing first. It says, as an economist, I agree with NLRB's ruling that college athletes are employees and therefore have the same rights as other employees in America. After all, top athletes are recruited, rewarded, and kept for their labor by universities, which is no different from how private sector deals with its employees. So, let's look at this. Why does it start off by saying as an economist? Why do you think they're doing that? Before I just give you an answer why, let's look at the answer choices, right? So, A says suggests that economists are superior to university administrators. Yes, maybe some economists think that they're superior to administrators, right? But this part over here, I don't think it's talking about that. They're saying, as an economist, meaning I know what I'm talking about, right? That's why they're doing this. This is not to, mock the administrators or people who run the universities. What about B? Underscore, so this means emphasize, underscore a contrast between his view and the outcome of the debate. Okay, we'll leave this for now. That doesn't sound like a terribly bad answer. What about C? Give weight to his opinion. So give weight means give more credit to, right? Give more influence over his answer. So this does seem like the answer. C seems like the answer, so we'll leave that for now too. We'll just get rid of all the garbage answers. What about D? D says, note the importance of a profession, meaning, economists or economics, being an economist is the best profession out there, right? So that'd be a garbage answer. What about E? Undermine. And undermine means to weaken, and this comes out in test prep so often, right? So undermine the arguments of a specific group. Okay, but this is good, but there's nobody counter arguing in this question itself, right? Because they're only asking about this phrase, right? So yeah, that doesn't sound terribly bad, but it's not talking about this at all. So we'll get rid of that. So it has to be between B and C. So it's an underscore a contrast, the difference between his view and the outcome of the debate. Except in this one, they don't mention any outcome. Nobody's arguing against this economist in context of just this excerpt in itself. So the answer has to be C. Okay, so let's look at the second one over here. And the second one says, as a journalist. So this is exactly the same thing as up here, as an economist. And you're going to run into this. That's why I purposely picked this out. So while you're reading, maybe they don't ask you a question about this, but you should know the tone of this, right? He's trying to establish something, right? So it says, as a journalist, I believe in freedom of speech and expression guaranteed by our Constitution, but the behaviors of trolls do not border on the side of free speech. Trolling belongs in the realm of bullying. After all, bullies and trolls have the same repertoire: violent threats, sexual harassment, homophobic comments, and discriminatory remarks. So, this one says the exact same thing. It says the author uses the phrase as a journalist. So, why is he mentioning as a journalist? Okay, so it says give authority to his opinion. So you have to know what that means, authority. And opinion, yes, maybe his opinion, right? So we'll leave that for now since we don't know. What about B? Suggests that freedom of speech and expression are undeniable. We're not really sure about this one either, so we'll leave that for now. Remember, get rid of all the garbage answers first, right? C says establish a contrast between his views and prevailing views of society. That's actually not bad at all, right? Maybe we may have to read this again, right? D, note the importance of a profession. So this is kind of similar to what came out before, right? Saying like economists are better than other people, right? So it can't be D. What about E? Undermine the arguments of a specific group. Same thing, right? But nobody is arguing back, right? So it has to be between A, B, and C. First of all, the word authority means think about like an authoritative figure. It's somebody who has a lot of power, right? So A, give authority to his opinion means give more power right? Give more power or influence to his opinion. And what is his opinion? It says it right there. I believe in the freedom of speech and expression, right? It's guaranteed by our Constitution, right? So as a journalist, he wants to say, you know, I know what I'm talking about. I'm a journalist, and we need freedom of speech, right? And freedom of speech is given. But what trolls do is not what's freedom of speech. So yes, A is correct, but let's look at B and C. B says suggests that freedom of speech and expressions are undeniable. No, he says we do have freedom of speech, but B says that maybe we don't have freedom of speech, and we need to have freedom of speech, right? Suggests that freedom of speech are undeniable. We cannot, deny this. Yeah, that's true, but that's not what he's arguing about. We do have freedom of speech. He's saying that people are violating freedom of speech in the sense that they're not taking it away, they're just saying the wrong things. So it can't be B. What about C? Establish a contrast. Okay. Contrast between his views. What is his view? His view is we have freedom of speech. We could do whatever we want. Versus prevailing. Prevailing means existing notions of society. Notions are ideas. And in today's society, or at least in America, right, the notion of society is, the prevailing notion, the ones that dominate, is freedom of speech, right? He's not saying I'm arguing against freedom of speech. He says we need freedom of speech. We have it, right? He's just saying that trolls should behave themselves according to line 3, right? So the best answer is A.